And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
I'm very excited about reviewing this game because it was a definitive moment in my life when I first played Fortress America. I believe I was 12 or 13, which makes that almost, 25 years ago. And that's a long time that I've been playing Fortress America. And they finally reprinted it. I've been begging for it to be reprinted. I thought it was a great game, but it was starting to get more and more expensive on eBay. Not to mention it was in such a gigantic box. There was probably ways it could have been made a little bit better. And Fantasy Flight listened to me and reprinted it in a much smaller, better box with some high-quality components. Although I'm not 100% on board with every component change that they've made, they've essentially made Fortress America the same game, making minor tweaks, which I think every tweak that they've made has been perfectly acceptable. The game is still the great game that it was, and if you ever want it, the theme, whatever the new theme book says, whatever, it's still America fighting the communists forever. That's the way it was when we were growing up, and that's the way I play it now. In Fortress America, one person plays the United States, who, for some reason, the entire world does not like them, and they get attacked from three sides, although Canada, thank you Canada, has decided to stay neutral. So you have Asian countries attacking from one side, European countries and South America attacking from the bottom, and their goal is to destroy America. Over the course of the game, America starts out pretty weak and starts getting decimated. But over the course of the game, they become stronger. Citizens grab knives and stuff and start coming up and fighting. And so the invaders have to beat America within a certain time frame. They have 10 turns to capture 18 cities. And if they do that, they automatically win. Otherwise, the U.S. holds them off, and eventually they would destroy the invaders and then stand firm with the red, white, and blue. Let me show you a bit about the game. Here's the whole board, and you can see that it's set up at the beginning of the game. There's every city in America. They're marked by cities, and there's major cities here. And some of these cities were moved for purposes of this game, but you get to put 2 units in each city, while the invaders are going to be putting units down there too. There's different types of unit. There's infantry, there's tanks, there's helicopters, there's bombers, there's mobile infantry. I have to say that the new infantry are really cool. I really like the new infantry. The new helicopters, I can take them or leave them. The new bombers are great, although I did like my SR-71s. I like the old hover tanks better than the new ones, but hey, whatever. They're still good quality models. So everyone's attacking the United States, and you can see much of the United States forces are on the East Coast, but they've moved a few in this game so that the West Coast is a little bit stronger. And so each player is going to take a turn. And on your turn, the first thing you would do is you will bring in some reinforcements, and then you will make attacks. So let's say the red player here is going to make some attacks, and they decided that they want to capture the most famous American of all, the Vasel family. And so they're going to hit Miami here, this area. So they would put some targets in here, and then they would do some preliminary movements. And just for the record here, I'm going to not cover everything that this game has. I'm just kind of giving you a basic idea. And so they get ready to attack, and some things can fly in and bomb, and some helicopters can land in the territory to block off areas of retreat. And then the attack happens. Now in an attack, the defenders get to roll dice first. And there's 3 different dice that are rolled in the game. The red die is rolled by infantry, the white die and mobile infantry. The white die is rolled by tanks and helicopters, and the blue die is rolled by bombers. And defenders go first. So let's say down here, these 2 gentlemen, so they roll, and they roll 2 hits. Ha 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 ha! Take that, European conquerors. Now, infantry can only hit infantry unless there's nothing else to hit. So 2 of the red infantry are removed from the game, never to be seen again. Now the bad guys go, or the good guys, depending on how you feel about this. And so they roll all their dice, and so they roll their dice here. And they get 1 retreat, but there's nowhere for this guy to retreat to because everything's a battle zone, so he's dead. And then 2 hits. Now, there is some hits that are in a circle and some that are not. The hits that are not in a circle do not count when you're attacking a city or a mountain territory if you don't have combined arms. So the game does encourage combined arms. So obviously bombers and helicopters are, there's a hierarchy of how powerful things are. Bombers, helicopters, tanks, mobile infantry, and infantry. And they have some special abilities. Bombers can fly over. Helicopters can fly behind enemy territory. Tanks can move fairly quickly compared to the infantry. Infantry can be carried by the mobile infantry. But once you've destroyed everything, then what will happen is the people who are attacking move in, and they take the city marker off and they put it up here at the top of the board. And that's to keep track of how many cities you've captured, because remember, when you get to 18, you've won. The United States player will go after all the invaders has gone, but he gets to do something really cool. First, he picks a city on the map, which is almost always Detroit for the first one. And he will add a laser to this city. Come on, lasers. And he will be able to use this laser to attack one unit on the board with the strength of a bomber. So he'll pick an area, he'll say, aha, and he'll target that area and roll the dice. And so as the game goes by, he gets more and more lasers. He has to attack different areas. But even more importantly are these partisan cards that he has. The United States player gets 2 of these each turn, but he can get more. If he captures cities back, he gets more cards. So you have to be cautious as the invader not to allow him to capture more cities. But he'll turn these cards over, and Major Airlift, well, that was a really good card, but let me show you a different one. Let's see here. This one here. Rebels score victory in the south. It says destroy one invader military unit in any territory in the southern sector that is not a city territory, then place 3 partisans in that territory. And so now we see the partisans show up. These are extra units that the United States has, and they're the same as infantry, except that when there's one by himself, and he's defending, that one will roll a white die rather than a red one. So these guys will start showing up, and they will start attacking. And the invaders have to be careful, because at the beginning it's easy for them to capture cities, but they must always be able to trace a supply zone back to these invader zones that they're coming in on, or else they will lose their units. And so this will go back and forth. And the invaders start with 20 units on the board, and they will add 40 over the course of the game, 8 each turn. And they'll fight, and you'll fight over the cities, and cities will be lost. And America will add lasers and shoot and use their cards and bring back troops from the dead. That, factors in Detroit will make more airplanes and so on and so forth. And so there will be a fight to the end. Now, this game does include some variants that you can play with. Some of those variants include having a deck of cards for the invaders that the invaders can draw from and use these cards instead of bringing in extra reinforcements. It's a nice variant. I like that. It even has the possibility of you conquering an area on the board and making that area part of your own. Like if you conquer San Antonio, now San Antonio is an actual is one of your invasion zones and can never be recaptured. So that's, some interesting things that they added to the game. They also have ways to make it harder for the invaders and for the defenders. There is a way, which I recommend that you never play, where you can play at the end of the game. If the invaders win, they all then try to get as many cities as they can, and whoever gets the most cities is the winner. But I don't like that for a couple of reasons. There are people who will say that the game is imbalanced. They'll say, oh, America has such a great advantage. Oh, the invaders have such a big advantage. What I think is fascinating is how people say both. I have found, and I have played Fortress America in the hundreds of times probably, and I haven't played this one that many times, but like I said, the differences aren't that major. And I have found that if it is a 2-player game, where all the invaders are controlled by one person, the other person controls America, then the invaders might have a slight advantage. But in a 4-person game, where the invaders are controlled by 3 different people, America has a slight advantage because those 3 people don't work together as well. I always traditionally would smash the European side as hard as I possibly could and let the yellows and blues roll in and then try to turn around an army around and go back and fight those. But that doesn't always work, and they've made it so there's some more cities out there, so you have to be very careful. It's a lot of fun. It is certainly a light war game. It is a game that I really, really enjoy and have a great time at. I love playing as the American player, but I'm willing to play any of the players because it's interesting. It has really cool plastic pieces. The new version, so some of the changes is they took numbers off the dice and put hit markers on them instead of you saying hitting a 6 or higher. Okay, it's not a big deal. They added the extra things. They changed the molds. Mobile infantry can move people. And there's a few other minor movement things, but other than that, it's essentially the same game. I thought the original map was a colorful thing. This map is more sedated, which is probably better for gameplay, but I really did like the old map. But It doesn't matter. What matters is this game is a quality reprint. It's in production. If you like this idea, now realize the game is a 3.5 to 4 hour game sometimes. It can be a lengthy affair, but you will have fun defending America from its enemies or taking over this fascist nation and freeing the people in. Although they don't really seem to want to be freed in this game. So whatever makes you feel better, attacking or defending America, you can do it in this game and enjoy it.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at Dicetowernews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.
Shut the door!
That's right. Shut it.
There.